Test, test. Can you hear me now? Still no. Okay, hold on. All right. I may have to jump out and jump back in. I'm not sure why this isn't working. Audio. Oh, okay. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Oh, Jalen says she can hear me. Okay, good. Great. I am so glad you can hear me. Whew. Sorry. Always a little technical snafus. They've changed the whole interface on Facebook Live. So I'm going to start over again. My name's Shannon for those of you that can't hear me or that couldn't hear me before and that I've not met. And I am so thankful to ACE for providing this platform for group fitness instructors. Those of you that don't know, ACE sponsors this page. However, it is agnostic. All group fitness instructors of any age or stage are welcome here. And what we love is being able to support you both as people and professionals. And we really, I hope that you guys have been on this journey with us the past, gosh, I think it's been 6 weeks now. We've been going live every Monday since this giant pause. And we took a stand a while ago that these Mondays we were going to talk to you not just as professionals, but like I said, as people, and help provide you the resources that you need to navigate this crazy time. And, the last few weeks I've been doing interviews with people and talking about different subjects. And now that we're all in this kind of weird, we're back to this weird unknown space, right? Where some clubs are opening back up, others aren't. And we're all just kind of waiting for people to make decisions on our behalf. I thought it was about time for us to tackle 3 things to consider before you get back to teaching. And I want to take this in a little different way. And I do have notes. So if you see me looking down, it's such a near and dear to my heart subject that I feel called to speak about because I'm getting messages from many of you in different ways about your fear around this, your panic around it, um and I feel like it's really important to discuss. And so I welcome you to keep commenting on the left-hand side. I'll try to get to your questions and look and see what folks are saying. So here's the deal. There are plenty of things to discuss regarding the tactical practical of coming back online, of coming back to teaching in a live club. We could debate all the things that we've been talking about doing to increase or evolve your cueing strategies and your teaching strategies and all the things you've learned that hopefully you're going to put into play when you come back. Um, but I want to take this away from cueing and away from movement and away from safety and away from cleanliness. I've been saying on every webinar that I've been doing about that, like I am not the public health department. I do not have the first clue about what we're going to need to do to A, make people feel safe, and B, actually keep people safe in this new world. So I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I'm going to leave that to the experts. I would suggest that you continue to be in those conversations with your managers, your owners, and those folks that are making the decision, and ask the right questions to find out how they have come up with the plans that they are using, and be very vocal about it. But I don't want to really talk about that today. I want to take it in a different direction. Like I said, we're interested in supporting group fitness instructors beyond the classroom, and I really feel like I've been called to support your emotional well-being. I'm not a therapist by any stretch of the imagination, but I want this to be a safe space where we can all, and I love it. I love that this page is not like many other group fitness pages where we're questioning each other's techniques and tactics and we're debating things and act like we're in competition. Like I truly feel like we're one community, and it makes me so, 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 so happy. So I want to support your emotional well-being today. And what I want to talk about with regards to things to consider before you go back to the club or consider going back to the club are in 3 areas. So maybe not even 3 tips, but I want to talk about 3 areas, and we're going to go in this order: mental, physical, and spiritual. Because in anything you do, those 3 areas should all have similar thought. And we should give the same attention to all three of those areas. So we're going to start with mental. We'll go into physical because there are some physical things you need to consider. Like, so we're not talking about safety or any cleanliness or anything like that, but like your physical well-being and that of your members coming back from this hiatus, so to speak. And then we'll go into spiritual. So let's start with mentally or mentality, however you want to think about it. For me, this is a big one because this pause has put us all in a similar place, but in different places. And I heard it explained really, really well. It's making its rounds on Facebook, and I'm going to totally paraphrase it. So this really stuck with me. It said, we're all in the same boat, or yeah, we're all in the same boat, but we're all weathering really, really different storms. And this stuck with me because, like, while we're dealing with Corona and the closures of our clubs and our schools, what each of us is experiencing is quite different. And I think at the beginning there was this big swell around. We're all feeling the same things, and we were with regards to panic around the disease or the virus, and cleanliness and safety. But as this has progressed, what each of our each of us has had to do to deal with this and the repercussions of being at home and our kids being at home and clubs closing down and losing jobs or our jobs totally blowing up because we have to support other people going through this. Like we're all dealing with the same thing, but we're weathering different storms. I hope that resonates. If it resonates, give me a thumbs up or a heart or some kind of emoji so I know you're out there. I think it's really important to pause on that because I can't possibly imagine what you're going through. You can't possibly imagine what I'm going through. And those of you that know me know that a lot of my work in college was around communication studies, specifically in NLP. And we talk about this concept of the map is not the territory. And that is so true right now. Like my view of the world at this particular moment is very different than anybody else. Even if we're all group fitness instructors, we're all working at the same club, we're all in the same community, it doesn't matter. Like we are all experiencing this differently. And therefore, we all, and you've heard me say this for the last few weeks, we all have to give each other a little bit of space and grace about our decision making process around the club opening back up and suspend judgment completely. And that starts with you, like giving yourself a little bit of space and grace about how you're feeling about going back to teaching, about your club's plans to reopen. It's very, very individual for you, right? And then we need to make sure that we give our colleagues space and grace for their decisions about going back to the gym and reopening. And we have to give the consumer or the person that takes our class space and grace about their decision around it. And we have to suspend judgment completely. So, one, mentally, before you go back or as you start to hear these plans about your club reopening, I really encourage you to consider what storm you're weathering, right? What storm are you weathering? How has this impacted you financially, physically? Who else is in your sphere that you could affect by making the decision to go back in and teach? How do you feel about the protocols that have been put back in place at your club? How are you feeling inside? And when you consider that, um, know that it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling about all of this and first suspend judgment on yourself. And then second, like I said, we've got to hold space for the boats that others are in. Because just because clubs are opening and you see fitness professionals, and maybe you are one that's chomping at the bit to go back, it doesn't mean how you're feeling or anyone else is feeling is any less relevant or real. And vice versa. Just because some members are aching to be back in class and others aren't, doesn't mean that you have to change how you feel. And that's the first thing I want to say is that I feel like I'm getting a lot of questions and comments from people about, well, gosh, all my members are begging me to come back, so I feel like I have to. Or vice versa. I hear some members saying, I feel like I've got to be there for them because I'm feeling a little bit judged and almost shamed into getting back into the gym, but I'm not quite ready. Like, Long short, I'm not suggesting that you have to tamp down how you're feeling about it and not express that verbally, but make sure that, how do I put this? And I'm trying to be so delicate with it. So I'm sorry, you guys know I'm usually not at a loss for words, but this is such a touchy subject to me. If you are anxious to get back and you are ready to do it, I want to make sure that when you're putting those messages out, whether it is speaking to people, writing on Facebook, doing recordings and talking to colleagues or members, that you express from the place of I, not them. So, in other words, you can say, I am so excited to welcome back any of you that are ready to come. I feel really confident about the protocols that are in place. I'm ready to be there. But if you're not, I will still be here to support you and help make sure you get, the help that you need. Instead of can't wait to see you, who's going to be the first one there? And I know that it comes from such a good place. But like I said, I keep hearing it from both sides where, members are feeling pressured to come back in, instructors are feeling pressured to come back in. So I ask that you kind of take a moment for that. And I love, Elizabeth, that you said, I feel like my thoughts on this change day by day, sometimes hour by hour. And you know what? That's okay. Because I think we're all going through that. And it gets even more muddy. The more information we consume, we almost get this like analysis paralysis, right? Is it right? Is it wrong? So one, you've just got to get really real with yourself about what feels right and what doesn't feel right and know that you can change your mind. And if someone is pressuring you to come back into the gym, you need to give them the big ol' Heisman or the hand up and say it's your decision because your reality is so, so, so important. And the gyms will be there forever. Like just because you're not ready to come back right now, and I can tell you myself, like if a gym where I was teaching was opening back up on Saturday, I don't think I'd be the first person in line to go back and teach, but that's my reality, right? And I don't need to pressure anyone else. A couple of other notes that I just wanted to make sure that I share. I encourage you to take real stock of what heading back to the gym might mean for you, for those that you come in contact with. And further down the contagion line, I don't know if you guys were dumb like me and watched that movie right at the beginning of this whole thing, but I think it's that, we have to be really real about, you may be teaching to a mom that lives with three asthmatics or people with autoimmune disease, and them not wanting to come back has nothing to do with you. Like we can't take it as a referendum on us as instructors, right? This whole concept, and I know I'm beating a dead horse, but this whole concept of everyone's reality is really real right now, and we've got to be okay with that and completely suspend judgment around it. We don't need to apologize for how we're feeling about anything. And if the organization is forcing you to make decisions that don't sit right with you, it may be time to think about plan B. Nobody should be pressuring anyone into making decisions that don't feel right now. I hope that makes a ton of sense. And we're going to talk a little bit more about ROI and this concept of ROEI, return on emotional investment. I learned that from, my former boss and mentor, Chuck Runyon. But we have to really consider what the return on investment is. And now it's not just trading time for money, right? There's so much other stuff involved in showing up and teaching a class amidst this pandemic when there is still no vaccine, that we really have to consider what that means for us. Does that make sense to you guys? So love all the comments that are coming in on the side. Martha saying, get anxious about how to reinvent myself. And that's true too. We're not necessarily going to tackle that today, but I also would say to you, Martha, like we don't have to reinvent ourselves just because we've been on a hiatus. Like that whole meme that's going around about, if you don't come out of this thing with a side hustle and a new business launch, then it's you, not your plans. Or I don't remember what it says. I'm paraphrasing again, but really, no. Again, we're all in the same boat, but weathering different storms. And there is nothing to say that just because you've been at home for 6 weeks and not teaching live classes that you need to be any better than when you left. I mean, I hope that you are, but if you're not, who cares? Or that you have to be able to teach anything else later. You know what I mean? So it's, space and grace always, space and grace always. So let's talk about physical, because this is really important too. Even if you've been working out religiously while you're at home, it is not the same as teaching a class. And even if you've been teaching virtually, it's not the same as teaching a class. So, and you're definitely not doing it the same cadence before, probably, right? Like I know Jeff Bagshaw's on here and he teaches like 72 classes. Actually, it's not 72, but tell us how many you really teach each week. It's a ton. I can't imagine that you're teaching to that caliber, that many classes during the week right now. So we do really have to give ourselves, I'm going to keep saying space and grace for the fact that we are physically not the same. Like you may have been doing great workouts, you may have increased your cardiovascular output, you may have been doing strength training, you may be stronger, but when it comes to teaching, that is a very specific skill set. And in the moment with a headset set on, music pumping, you facing a class, the energy of the class around you, going full out for 60 minutes and trying to motivate a crowd that is physically in your sphere, that takes a very different physical body and mental body. So our day-to-day lives have shifted. The amount of space we have to move in has been different. Our physical bodies are different, and nothing's quite the same as teaching in front of a live studio audience, like I mentioned. So you've got to be patient, not just with yourself, but first with yourself. I think that is so, so, so important. So again, kind of going back to what Martha was saying, like not only did you not have to come out of this like more fit than when you went into it, but we need to be really realistic with our members and our employers that we are not going to be in the same physical teaching shape when we walk back in as we were before. You also need to remember, and I know I've talked about this on a lot of lives, that your members are not going to be in the same physical shape as they were before. They've been doing different things, if they've been doing anything at all. And so, I think back to, do you guys remember the first time you taught? Those of you that started teaching, I would love for you to type in the comments. Like I vividly remember having rehearsed my 5 32 count step combinations until the cows came home. Like I had it on lock. But the minute that I put the headset on, pressed play on my cassette, and it was a cassette, and turned around on that stage and faced all those people to do it, my heart rate was like 197 in the first 2 seconds. Like I was super fit before and could dance rings around people in a step 3 advanced double step class with Melissa Lane. And then all of a sudden when I was teaching it, it felt worse. If you can think back to that moment, know that that is going to probably be the experience that you have. I don't know because I haven't gone back either, but I can only assume that after not teaching for 6 or 7 weeks, I do remember after being in the hospital for 73 days, and granted, that was a totally different subject. I had to move for 73 days, but I remember coming back to teach and it was like starting all over again. So what are some things you can do to prepare for that feeling? One, you need to try as best you can to practice full out before you go back in. The whole bells and whistles. Fake the headset, fake an audience with your stuffed animals, your children, everyone around. Try to find as much space as you possibly can and then do it for real. Do it for real. That's going to be the closest thing you can get to it. Second, before you go into this next class, and I don't know about you, but I've been doing a ton of meditating and a ton of breathing during this time, and I'm finding that that is coming in super handy, and I know that will be in my toolbox going back to teaching, where before I hit play, I will take those 7 deep breaths in a minute that my Apple Watch makes me do, right, Jeb? And I will power pose and remind myself that any kind of anxiety, fear, or nervousness, because that's going to be real, right? You're going to have more anxiety and nervousness than you ever have before because it's going to feel like a new skill set to some degree. And that's okay. But that increases your heart rate straight away. So any kind of breathing or meditation or power posing or mental training you can do to get into it would be great. The other thing that you really need to do is adjust your programming to create a class that will allow you and your members to ease back into it. So what do I mean by that? I mean, I did a webinar 2 weeks ago on the Group X Pro page about what staying at home or what working out at home has taught us about scheduling post-COVID. I hope you can check out that replay because I really think our schedules have got to change a lot when we go back into the gym to meet the needs of the members based around what they've been doing at home. But for you, you may not have control over your schedule. So you may return to teach in a 60-minute class just like you did before. So what do I mean by change the programming? Think about the exercises that you're doing. Maybe we choose exercises that have way more variety in ways to increase intensity without increasing impact. Maybe we find more ways to give people different shades of gray to gradually increase their intensity to get that 60-second, in intensity buzz that they all need. And maybe think about ways that you can program that it frees you up to walk around and coach a little bit more, maybe than you ever have. And I hope if you took mine and Lawrence's or listened to Lawrence and I talk about elevated cueing, such great stuff that Lawrence threw out at us, if you can employ all of those new strategies and ideas, and you can get people to hang on to some things when you're teaching, to hang on to some cues, then you do give yourself space to back out of the conversation and not have to be the physical representation. I'm actually super excited. My local F45 is allowing me to do a workshop for them today about cueing. And we're going to be talking about leveling up, going from cueing to coaching. And in this coaching strategy, how you can, give yourself the opportunity to stop moving because you've given the client something to think about, that they are so in their head that they aren't even going to notice that you're not doing anything. So anything that you can do will be really, really, really helpful to you and to your members to kind of pay homage to what's happened to us physically, and the fact that we're just not going to be the same mentally or physically when we come back, right? You're going to want to feel successful. They're going to want to feel successful. So we're truly going to need to go back to teaching to the least common denominator and providing opportunities, not levels 1, 2, 3, whole nother webinar, but we'll do it again, I promise, to do what's needed to get the workout everyone desires. And you'll have to practice coaching and being effective with cueing versus doing as you lean back into this. So if you have any questions or comments about that, it's one of my favorite subjects to discuss. And those of you that have gone through the Schwinn training with me or any one of the other amazing Schwinn master trainers, we preach a lot about this whole coaching concept, making sure that you really give people this algebra equation, so to speak, so they know what they're supposed to do, what's the goal, they know how long they've got to do it, and then you give them options for making it all work for them, so they're solving for X. You're not solving for them. So a little less follow the leader, a little more find your own way is going to be helpful for both you and your members post-COVID from a physical place. All right. I'm going to try to get this done in 7 minutes, and I'm happy to go back and answer. I'm going to open it up to questions today, you guys, because like I said, I've been doing a lot of interviews on really meaty topics and answering questions as they come in, but I know this is a really interesting time for everyone, so I want to offer you a place. If you want to start typing in any questions, whether it's about something I've already mentioned, something you want to cover later, something you're wondering about, whether it's from me or from the community, pop those in and we'll see how many we can get to. Okay, so we talked about mentally. We talked about mentally knowing that we're all in the same boat, but weathering a different storm, and that your reality is 100% okay. It's legit. And whether you, like Elizabeth said, questioning yourself, change your mind hour upon hour, day upon day, it's fine. It's fine. And know that everyone else is. And here's the thing, nobody has the answers. So what you're thinking is just as valid as anyone else's. I do not care how smart your club owner is or your manager is or anyone that's trying to reopen these clubs is and all the advice they're giving us. None of us have any idea how to do it because we've never been here before. So you need to trust how you are feeling mentally in your gut and honor that, because you will never, ever, ever get a second chance to trust your own gut and go with how you're truly feeling. And if you're not going to be there 100% for your people, just take a break and come back when you're ready. It's totally fine. Physically, we know even if we've been working out, we're not 100% going to be in the same teaching shape that we were. Our members aren't going to be in the same teaching shape either, or taking class shape. So what can we do? We can practice full out. We can practice meditation and any kind of mental strategies to help us calm our anxiety and nerves before we teach. And then we also can think about our programming to ensure that we can cue a little bit more, maybe do a little bit less, and provide lots of options to make people feel successful. All right. Oh, I love that, Christy. Admitting you're also not physically where you used to be. People want to feel like you're also right there with them. Oh, such a great comment. So I talk a lot about coming down from being on the mountaintop. We've all been going through this together. So what an amazing place to be able to take off that superwoman cape or superman cape that I think instructors think they need to wear. Like we have to be able to do the advanced version of everything and jump higher and go longer and work out harder and not sound breathy. Not anymore. If you've ever had an excuse note to be real, it's right now. And I agree with you, Christy. I think people are 100% going to love seeing you struggle right along with them and being really real and really vulnerable about how you're feeling coming back. So great point. Love that you shared that with us. All right, let's talk spiritually. So we did mentally, physically, spiritually. This is the one I want to leave you with. I'm sure this pause, I know for me, it's been a real moment of reflection, both personally and professionally. And I have a feeling it has been for you too. That's the only thing I hope everyone has gotten from there. And I hope that as a fitness professional, no matter where you are in your journey, being a group fitness instructor or personal trainer, that you've taken inventory of, and if you haven't, today's when you need to do it. Why do you teach? What do you give? And what do you get? So I'm going to say it again. Your reflection professionally as a group fitness instructor, I hope, has led you to really think about these three things. Why do you teach? What do you give? And what do you get from it? And if you haven't done it, like I said, now is a really, really great time. Because before you head back in, I want you to get really clear. Because if you can get really clear on those three things, then you're going to better know. Because it's I did this webinar, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, called Leveraging Your White Canvas for Owners and Group Fitness Managers. But this truly is a chance to rewrite what your group fitness schedule looks like. And for you guys, it truly is a chance to rewrite where you teach, who you teach, and what you teach. And if you can get really clear on why you teach, what you give, and what you get from teaching, then before you head back, you're going to better know where you want to teach, whether it is currently where you teach or not. You're going to know what you want to teach. Are the formats that you're teaching working for you? Are they not? Did you just add them because someone asked you to or because it was really popular then? Are they really resonating with your soul? And then how do you wish to be compensated? And those three things are critical for your longevity in this industry. I've talked to a lot of instructors and managers during this time that have said, yeah, I've really had an opportunity to realize, and I think I've used the analogy here on this ACE page before, I've overstuffed my closet. I have put things in there that don't quite fit anymore, that I'm waiting till they feel better again. And I haven't cleaned up my closet in a really long time. And this pause has really made me realize, wow, I'm teaching classes that I don't like. I'm teaching time slots that I don't like. I'm teaching at gyms where I don't feel supported. I've been able to justify the fact that I haven't had any more than a 33-cent raise in 7 years. Is any of this resonating with you guys? And I'm not to say like we go back on the picket line from here, but I do think that you have the opportunity to make your own way. I think this pause for group fitness more so than any group of fitness professionals, it has shown us that people are willing to consume our product in a multitude of ways, that it doesn't have to be how it was. They're willing to experiment with how long classes are, with how they're delivered, with what that format looks like. There's so much opportunity. And so if you take inventory of why you teach, what you give, what you get, then before you do decide to go back, I want you to really analyze, where do you want to teach? Do you want to teach in a boutique? Do you want to teach in a multi-purpose health club? Do you want to teach in that health club that's down the street from you or the one that's 20 minutes away? Do you want to teach for yourself as an independent contractor and go to lots of places? Do you want to be an employee? And I don't know the answer. Like, for every person, this is very different. I go back to the mentality thing, right? Like, you own your own unique reality. The map is not the territory. But I also want you to think about what you want to teach. What formats really feed your fire? What gets you excited? What is a format that makes you want to stay up at night and learn, not just because you know you need to have 20 hours of continuing education, because you deeply care about the conversation? And then, how do you wish to be compensated? I beg you to not return back to the club and justify your teaching because you get paid to work out and you get free childcare and you get a free gym membership. I hope you have seen during this time that your worth is much more valuable than that. You are so much more valuable than a free gym membership, because I think you've also proven to yourself that you don't need a gym membership to stay fit. So like, how does that ROI work out, right? Like, I can just work out in my basement or do on-demand stuff. Like, that is no longer enough. You can no longer say it is okay. And again, I'm not saying that we go in as a coup and, start a union or anything like that, but you really need to decide what is fair compensation for what you bring to the table. And I know that we're all hurting financially as clubs and as individuals. And it doesn't mean that you've got to hold someone hostage right now and say, I'm not coming back until you give me a $10 per hour raise. That's ridiculous. But it does mean you can look at what your choices are. How else can you make money? Is it just at this one club, or could you still do virtual and digital? Because you guys, virtual and digital is here to stay. Whole nother conversation we need to have as well, right? But I hope you've determined that you teach because you like to move, or I'm sorry, let me back up. The final thing I want you to determine before you decide to go back and teach live is, do you teach because you like to move, or do you teach because you like to move others? And I'm going to say it again. This is so real to me. It brings tears to my eyes when I say this, because those of you, again, that know my story from when actually it was exactly this day, I think 11 years ago, that I ended up in the hospital. And it was the biggest aha moment in my life, where I realized that I don't teach because I like to move. Like, that was the catalyst. That's what got me into it. But my whole world pivoted when I realized I actually exist to teach because I enjoy getting other people to move. And not just move in fitness, like just move in general. Even if taking one class with me inspires them to do someone else's class and they leave me alone. Or if taking a class with me, they realize group fitness is not for me, I'm going back to the elliptical. Or if they decide, wow, this is really fun, but it would be way better for me to do this at home because it's more convenient. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't teach because I like to move, and I don't teach because I get ego strokes and people tell me that they love what I do. I teach because I like to move other people. There's a huge difference. Whether you're in this because you like fitness, or you're in it because not that you like to get other people fit. There's a big difference here, right? We need to move away from that too. Like, my job isn't just to get people fit. It's to teach people to fall in love with moving their bodies in whatever way. And I'm the conduit, not not the guru, right? And there's nothing wrong with the fact, if you determine that, no, I really like to teach because I just like to move, like, then you might be what I call a prosumer, a professional consumer of fitness, and you know more than the average bear. And so you're a good leader, a good follow the leader to get people to move, and you're still going to do good stuff. But if you truly understand that your calling is to get people moving, and that getting people moving may or may not be in the studio, it may or may not be with you, it may or may not be with your format, but you're okay with that because your ego is not tied up in how many people you have in your class, but how many people you affect in your lifetime, oh my God, our whole industry would change. So I am hoping and praying that there are a lot of people on this call that are like, yes, amen, hands up, that this is why I do it. And that we can all start to, I do believe that one of the best things that's going to come out of this is the people that are doing it just for the ego strokes and just for the pats on the back and just to be the most popular instructor or the hardest instructor. I don't think they're going to be as favored anymore, at least in the short term, because that is not what members are going to need. And I think that those of us that are truly here to get people moving and inspire the world to fitness, that there is going to be this rallying cry around that. And we are going to be the cream that rises to the top. And that's a pretty, pretty exciting thing, right? So the world needs more fitness pros that truly know their calling is to inspire others, to get people moving, and without judgment, and without competition, and without the sole goal of moving the scale or reshaping the body. We have got to shift our why. Like, I was not put on this earth to help you lose weight. I was not put on this earth to give you a six pack, right? I need group fitness leaders, and I want you to join my little army of empowerment, right? I really want you to embrace that you are a leader in a movement, and this world needs you now more than ever. And we move lots of people, lots of bodies. Now, it may only be 10 because of the whole social distancing thing when we go back to the gym. But if you can still do virtual, you can still do digital, and those things can be replayed over and over and over, and they can pass those along to those friends. Do you have any idea how much possibility really exists? It's pretty amazing. So You've heard me say many times, the last thing I'm going to say, that a mission needs a margin. Even a mission needs a margin. And I believe this wholeheartedly. So if you are what I described above, you're a group fitness leader that understands why you were put on this earth and you have become more than just the format that you teach, I'm excited for you to get back to work, whatever way that looks. And whether that's in the club, it's digitally, virtually, I cannot wait for you to be compensated for the work you do in a way that allows you to continue and expand the work that you do. And the opportunity for that exists right here. No one else is going to tell you that they're going to do it for you, right? We've got to become our own best advocates. So, find the places and spaces that get you. And if you can't, I hope you've come to realize in the last 7 weeks that there are other ways to make this happen, that we are just sitting at the precipice of what is possible for group fitness. And if we can all band together and work on it together and learn from one another, again, I go back to what I said at the beginning. That's why I love this page and this community, because everyone is so like-minded and genuinely interested in helping one another. Let's keep that going. I want to see if I have a couple of other. I had someone else that said something really interesting over on the side. Hold on. Keep asking questions. Oh, I can't find it. I hope you didn't delete it. Oh no, Martha said, I love to teach, but what I teach is changing. Tell me more, Martha. Tell me what you do teach, because I do think, it may be tough if there's a format that you teach that you're not sure is going to be there when you come back, or you think is falling out of favor. You know, I think everything has the potential. What's old is new again. I saw it with step during this whole pause, which was amazing. I saw some amazing step instructors come out of the woodwork that had given way to their passion because it just kind of got written off most of schedules, but they were doing it. So who's to say that the format that you're teaching, it may be out of favor at the club, or it might not be on the timetable at the club because those members don't want it. But is there another place that wants it? Is there something you do virtually or digitally to satisfy that hunger in you to teach that format? Can you change it just slightly to match the times a little bit better, right? So I mean, I truly think that the world is all of our oysters at this point. And I don't know, Martha, if you're planning to type in, but I'm happy to DM me if you want to talk about it offline. But I hope this resonated with you. Sorry, I kind of got on my soapbox there at the end, but I think it's really important for us to realize mentally, physically, and spiritually, there are things we need to do to prepare to go back. Mentally, trust your gut, follow your own path. You'll be ready when you're ready, and you may never be ready. And that's okay too. Physically, you're not in the same physical body. Your members aren't in the same physical body. What can you do to best prepare yourself? What can they do to feel, or what can you do to help them feel more successful when they come back in? And then spiritually, why are you teaching? Why do you do this? Why do you want to go back? Are you truly in the right place to make the biggest impact? And I hope those words give you hope and joy and help you find your way, or question what you're doing so you can come back better than ever. I see Martha's response. I teach 15 classes a week. Holy cow. Good on you, girl. Step, strength, freestyle, 40 plus, pre-choreographed. I have no doubt that all of that will be available later. You just might have to find your place to do those things. It might not be in the same way or at the same place anymore. You guys, if I can leave you with one thing, and I don't think I have a webinar or a live to talk about that on this page in the super near future. But maybe we will. Who knows? We're going to keep doing this until the whole world is back up and running. So this could be a while, right? Virtual, digital. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. If you have started giving your gifts to people via Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Vimeo, I don't care how you've done it, keep doing it, you guys. I keep talking about the fact that, like, our health clubs, we still only attract the 15%. We still only attract the upper echelon that is heavily moody. And when I say moody, they're like lifelong exercisers that they need different inputs all the time to get them excited. Like, they're the super users of fitness and gyms. They've already figured out their passion, and you're just there to follow them around and continue to give them things. But if we are talking about the 85%, they are the ones that are starting to think about fitness now because of us being at home. They have had access to exercise that they've never had before. So many options, so many different varieties, so many different personalities, not just the highly produced versions of fitness that still might be a turnoff to most people, to the 85%, right? They've seen real, authentic people like you in your dining room, in your living room, in your basement, with your kids crawling on you and your dogs crawling on you. Like, I see you and I see myself in you. And they are now excited to try. So this is why I am begging you not to ditch virtual and digital, because that 85% is still not ready. Like, your virtual and digital is the halfway house to them eventually going to the gym. And we are so egotistical to think that a health club reopening is going to save the nation from obesity, because some people will never go into a health club. Do you know who's going to save the world from obesity? You and your phone. So I hope that you can figure out some creative ways to continue sharing your gifts with this broader audience that has finally woken up. And even if they are, it was so funny. We did um, a happy hour with socially distanced happy hour with our neighbors down the street because we're almost out of lockdown. And it was so interesting to talk to my one neighbor who doesn't really exercise, and the two of us do, the two other ladies we do. And she was so cute. She's like, well, yeah, I tried that. And, but I was sitting on my couch watching it. I'm like, that's okay. At least you're watching it. Like, step number one is observing and seeing yourself in it, and then watching it for, a little bit of mastery, or to decide that you want to try it. And then you get up and you actually try it, and look at you, right? You can't do that at a health club. Anyway, I could totally get on my soapbox about this, but remember, the 85% need you, and they're at home. They're still not going to be in the health club on day one when you reopen. So continue to know that you've got gifts to share with them. Let me look at a couple of more comments. Keep them coming, you guys. I do have a fireside chat happening with Stacy Alden, who I think is on this live on the Group X Pro page in just 18 minutes. So I am going to have to go in 17, but join us over there. We're going to talk about group fitness on the Group X Pro page too. Christy said, I'm starting my virtual classes with a positive mantra, words of encouragement to help class participants know we're all at different places physically and emotionally, and just to do their best. Yeah, I love that. And Justine, as a program manager, trying to implement our in-house classes, having virtual options with the same classes at the same time. Love it. If I can be of any help to you with that, please, please, please let me know. Yeah, Group X Pro page, we do a lot more about scheduling, program management stuff. So join us over there if you have any questions. And as always, you guys, thanks so much for joining. It's been so great to have you guys at home and be able to talk to you live every week. It's forcing me to get dressed and do my makeup, which is also a really good thing. Um, but I'm here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. We'll see you next Monday. I'm super excited about next Monday. Kimberly Spring-Glick is going to be my guest, and she is just going to get you so excited and in a positive frame of mind. I think a lot of the stuff we talked about mentally and spiritually, we are going to double down on next week with her. So very anxious to see you guys next week. Like I said, Stacey Alden and I are doing a fireside chat about communication with group fitness teams. Friday, I'm doing a webinar on the Group X Pro page about streamlining communication. And I've got some other things happening down the pike. So give me more comments. Let us know what you want to hear about, what you want to talk about, how you're feeling, how we can support you. And I'm just so thankful for your time, the gift of your time. So thank you so much, you guys. Have a great, great, great Monday. Bye.